get beautiful days. It's a beautiful day here today. You've been here since 2014, but this story really began when you're 3. You're singing away. I know when you're 12, you got the music scholarship to the King's College in Taunton. But those early years, was it a family tradition? Were you kind of like different to the rest of your family that you were in love with singing? I don't know where you kind of know this came from.
I was probably more in love with sport and kind of always did singing, you know, and kind of didn't even think I did it. I was always like a head chorister at school or something like that, but I didn't actually consider, you know, I don't know, back in that day it didn't even seem like that. The showbiz world was, it's not like today where you realise, you know, the X Factor and that. I didn't even realise it was a career, like a proper career. I thought you had to go in the army or go and like be a solicitor or go and be whatever. So I always played a lot of sport. I dreamt of playing up front for Manchester United or something like that, and which, you know, tragically didn't happen. There's time. I think I could probably get a couple of games there. In that respect, it was kind of always something on the sideline that I did. My mum was very musical, so she would play piano and stuff, and I would sing with her. And I was lucky enough to attend Wells Cathedral School for a few years and played a lot of instruments and stuff, but always never really thinking about it. Certainly not career-wise. I wouldn't have been clever enough.
Would you have like posters on your wall? Were you like a fan of pop music? Or
yeah, there used to be a magazine called Lookin'. I don't know if I did have Lookin'. Yeah, Lookin'. It used to have the ones on the back wall. Funny enough, I remember putting Tight Fit up on my wall. Tight Fit and and I remember, and when I did Miss Saigon in '93. Steve Grant, the lead singer of Tight Fit, was in the show. Like, sweet. Seriously, first day I saw him, you in Tight Fit? He was like, please don't. I was like, sorry.
But isn't that sort of a notion too for a lot of male singers from the last like 30 or 40 years? They'd always sort of put, you know, Otis Redding or Marvin Gaye or the certain singers, even Van Morrison, things like that. For you, was it just pop music and obviously the choral, or I don't know, was it a big mixed bag of?
Well, it was everything. I loved Madness. I was like a mod, I think, when I was 8. You know, the Jam and all of that. So I was always a little bit advanced. I never really liked the pop stuff. I liked quite alternative style. So I liked all the soul when I was young. I remember loving Judas Priest. You know, but I was very young for a Judas Priest. You know. Queen, obviously, and Police and that. But then I heard a young gentleman by the name of Colin Wilkinson when I was around 16, singing a bit of Bring Him Home and that. And then that kind of was my first time, the musicals sort of theatre. I piqued my interest, as it were, certainly for male vocals. And then actually, not long after that, Michael Ball kind of took off, and you know, with his Love Changes Everything and stuff. And musicals became kind of in the 80s. Musicals had a big renaissance. You know, Starlight Express and Cats and all that kind of thing. But yeah, I'd say I grew into them really. So mainly kind of alternative pop. Adam and the Ants was a big one.
There you go.
So I love Adam and the Ants and things like that.
But that moved then into, you know, I know that in 1989 that you start to win awards. You know, you the Andrew Lloyd Award, and you're starting to sort of get that.
Yeah, Stepforth,
Yeah, and was that something that you, I don't know, would have already taken very seriously, or was it sort of a surprise to you that, oh?
No, I was very annoying. I'm very the opposite of what, you know, all these kids like. You know, I teach a lot of guys now who are really diligent and everything, and my wife was a ballerina and she was away at Elmhurst Ballet School at 16 and had a scholarship and had danced since the age of 8. I couldn't care less. Like I rolled into the Stepforth and sang a couple of songs, but I went to my lessons once a week, you know, and I worked on it and I enjoyed it and stuff. But I never spent too much time thinking about it. So yeah.
Well, the win must have obviously given you the signal that, well, this could be something. 2 years later, you auditioned for Miss Saigon.
Yeah,
and you're off.
Well, I went into the club scene in England and into the kind of holiday camp scene and started to earn a living. And I think that's when it started to change. And obviously, I always did a bit of musical theatre as well as everything else. And the musical theatre always went down well. And they always, I remember a comedian liking me as to a guy with the voice of an angel, but looked like he had his dinner all over his face.
Hey!
I think it was a compliment. So I kind of do the musical theatre, but I was kind of, you know, quite down to earth with it. And then, the opportunity came up. Really funny little story that a friend of mine I was working with at the time knew a guy in Miss Saigon, and she rang him unbeknownst to me and said, there's this guy who could play Chris, you know, when are they auditioning? And he said tomorrow at midday. So he got me an audition and we had to pretend to know each other. He's still a friend to this day, Phil Cabell, and we'd done the same club circuit, funny enough, and I went up sort of the next day. It was that quick. And I auditioned on the Friday, I got a recall audition on the Monday, and I got an offer for the show on the Wednesday, and that was it.
And really, your CV, it just looks like just non-stop then, or was it a struggle to get your feet kind of firmly on the ground?
No, I mean, not in that respect. I mean, I was very lucky. I was non-stop. Pretty much like I got Miss Saigon and I got other jobs quite quickly. I was, lucky in that respect. But I worked hard. I learned, I learned from a lot of amazing people. I worked my way up, as it were.
Right.
And had good times, had some bad times. But luckily, such a lot of wood, never really long periods out of work or anything like that. I was always.
And that must feel great that you're getting to the point where you're jumping all over. You go to Newcastle, you're doing Sting's play, or you do Titanic up in the north.
Yeah.
But then the fact that you are kind of firmly in that world, was there any point, at any point did you sort of stop and say, oh, I've kind of made it, or was that too dangerous ever?
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, I think I was more ticking off like when I did Les Mis. I thought, and that's a good time to do, because I'd always wanted to be in Les Mis, and for one reason or another, it never happened. Either I was busy or there wasn't the right part. And when I did Les Mis, and you kind of audition for these things, it can be over a 20-year period. It's not like some people get Les Mis in their first job. Others of us wait many years. So I went through the Marius and the Undress, and I eventually got it, and I got an alternate Jean Valjean in it, and it was just perfect, and it couldn't have been better. And I think then, you can kind of sit and go, okay, I can rest easy now. I've done everything I wanted to do. So I did have a point where I thought, yeah, there's not much more I can do. I've done that amount of work, and I've opened new shows. You sort of have a bucket list saying, oh, I want to open a new show, I want to work with whoever, I want to do this, do a bit of telly, do this. So I did all that, so I was very lucky. And so in that respect, I think after Les Mis I thought I can rest easy. And then luckily enough, I got to visit Canada, as you said, with Titanic. So.
Before keeping it in the song mode, you found Love in a Hopeless Place, a girl from Newtown.
Yeah, well, Ballantyre and then Newtown.
Oh, right,
but
right.
no,
Ballantyre originally, but okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that sort of move then obviously was part of a kind of a new phase where you had to sort of start doing those other things you had been doing, where you're doing like clubs, and you're doing more kind of we'll say traditional gigs. And so I'm guessing now with the Mother's Day concert, this will be kind of a nice sort of opportunity for you to showcase the fact that you have all these years of songs that are in your system.
It's an interesting one, because it's kind of going back to the roots. It's a standard, but it's a concept that this time, whereas when I first started, I'd sing songs from Phantom or Les Mis, but I hadn't been in them. And now I'm able to sing songs from Phantom and Les Mis, and I have. So it's quite a nice thing. I'm doing some other show stuff I haven't been in as well, but it's going to be a nice mix of everything, because I have, very strange music taste as well. I'm not the classic. It's not all going to be musical theatre. There'll be lots of stuff, lots of fun, and it is going back to that, kind of venue on your own, up there in front of an audience, kind of hoping and praying that A, somebody turns up, and B, that they enjoy it when they do. And obviously Mother's Day, we've got to look after those most wonderful ladies, and we've actually just had our first child 12 days ago, so thank you very much. And so for my lovely wife, it'll be her first Mummy's Day, so she's going to be in the theatre with me.
You'll be feeling the Mother's Day.
Yeah, it's a very special one. So I mean, it's going to be hopefully a nice event, and lots of mums and mother-in-laws are all welcome. All welcome.
Do you find yourself kind of like changing? I'm just thinking, we generally, if you like music, you go through a phase of certain songs just knock you dead, and then 10 years later to a different one or evolve. Are there certain songs that you just, for your voice alone, are just kind of pure bliss for you to sing? That's it.
Yeah, sometimes it's lovely going back. Sometimes it's difficult. Like if you do, I mean, I did Les Miserables for 2 years, and I did Phantom per year. When you've done a show like that, which is such a set way of singing, that then trying to get back to hitting some Michael Bolton or something is not an easy thing to do. It takes a couple of months to change everything again, So you kind of go back to it's a weird one. It takes a bit of time. So, but there's always stuff, It's also, I find, time. I don't realise how far it's gone. Like, 93 seems like yesterday to me when I had a fringe and everything. And now all of a sudden I'm like, God, that's actually, 25 years ago or whatever. So what, there's some stuff I haven't sung since, maybe 1991. That I suddenly thought, oh yeah, I'll sing that again. And I haven't done it actually for the best part of 30 years. So that's exciting as well. It's almost like a rediscovery. So it's like I haven't done a song like Love Changes Everything since I was in the clubs. So it's when you come back and go, crikey, that's high.
in the same way that because everybody has a phone and they can video and they can photograph, everybody's a videographer and a photographer and influencer and all that. On the musical front,
everyone's a critic as well.
Well, the last 5 years especially, the kind of You know, from Glee to America's Got Talent to the musical, and Disney have had a great resurgence in their on the musical front. It seems to be a very healthy time for musicals, or maybe it's a little bit hard to pin it down because it is just so wildly out everywhere. You know,
Yeah.
you look at
Well,
TV and
I mean, they're just so popular, aren't they?
Right.
Like, and everybody, the access. I think the difference is, since when I started, there was no act like musical theatre. I thought there was a magic, there was a mystique. If you went to the West End or you went to the theatre, you never knew what they were doing backstage. You didn't know what was going on. You didn't know the people. You kind of knew of them. So it was a really exciting kind of place to be in. And now it's just open. You know, everybody's on Facebook. There's gigs. There's so much access. Yeah, there's like, you know, everybody's got an album. Everybody's done it, and there's the iTunes. So like, it's just like, it's just so accessible. And then of course with stuff like The Voice and Britain's Got Talent, you know, it's just there's so many ways to get in to the industry, and there's so many colleges to train in and such like it, and it's expanding all the time. It's big business,
right?
You know, and that's always a bit of a worry. I mean,
I suppose the dilution too happens to, you know, that the actual magic of it gets diluted because it's like music in general. It's just everywhere on the internet and it's free.
Well, it's like creating music. You know, back in the day, the bands used to, and I'm sure they did in Ireland as well. You know, the singers and the bands would do the circuits around the pubs, around the concert halls and whatever, and learn their trade, and then maybe get a record deal. Whereas now, they'll put together a band with a record deal right from the off. So you know, I remember Phil Collins saying, you know, he'd never be famous now.
Right.
You know, which if you think about it, is, you know, with Genesis and then Phil Collins, and think of what he's given to music, it's insane. But you know, probably very true. So
every generation takes a different kind of beast to make it through.
But I think it's coming back, isn't it? You know, there seems to be a lot of guitar-led writers singing their own songs, like the Ed Sheerans and all these guys, kind of really coming back. And certainly here, the music industry, musical theatre. Don't know where it is at the minute. I don't know.
Ultimately, I'm guessing when you're up there and you're in the middle of a song that you love and that you obviously you've got a certain amount of you know, as I said, the experience of it would bring all that to the song. That's got to be timeless, though. That's got to sort of step you out of. It doesn't really matter what's going on outside this room right now or what's going on in the world right here, right now, in this moment. The song is all that matters.
Well, it takes you to a place, and like if I sing "Still of the Night" from Dirty Dancing, for example, that was me that originated that song in London. That was me. That was mine, and that was mine. And I met my wife. You know, I'm punching well above my weight, so you know, singing high was something that worked. And so to me, I have very special memories of that process, the process of creating the show, being a part of the show originally in London, but then that being mine. And so whenever I sing it now, if I sing it, I haven't decided yet, you know, it takes you back to that, Bring Him Home Again, obviously, from Les Mis. I can remember the emotion of being on the stage where I am in the piece, you know, when I sing it, you know. So yeah, they all take you to different places, and there's various. It's a lovely place to be, actually. It kind of gives you a little. It's like revisiting an old friend in a way. Sorry to sound cliche, but it is. You know, you kind of you go back and say hello again, and sing them, and hopefully still sing them. The terrible thing is when you haven't practiced it for a couple of years, they go, oh, that's not how I remember it.
Well, I guess you still feel that magic then, because it's something that you can't. It's like riding a bike. It's always in your memory. It's a sense memory.
It's the one thing I do a lot of teaching now. I teach a lot of singing. I teach everywhere, all over Ireland and all over the UK and the world and that. And the one thing you can't teach is the magic. The one thing you can't give a student is how to feel it. They have to find that. That's their journey. And the real good ones, the real good singers are the ones that will always be the best, the ones that have that in them. You know, it's a natural thing. You know, it's always been said when somebody walks into a room, they have that star quality in that, and that's something that can't be taught. So whatever you do, you can have the greatest voice if you don't have that kind of thing.
You've got that, Chris, don't you?
Oh, I mean, you saw when I walked into the car. I mean, the room stopped, their heads turned. All the ladies, there was an intake of breath. All the gentlemen,
Holland,
you owe us money.